MindFlayer. Standing up to 6 feet 2 inches tall, the illithid, or MindFlayers, as they are more commonly known, are tentacle-mouthed, brain-consuming humanoids. An ancient race that predates written history, the MindFlayers were said to have destroyed their very creators and erased all evidence of their existence, purely out of hatred. While the origins of the illithid are shrouded in mystery, there are theories that they come from the far realm, an alien place beyond time and space. Born from eggs, they hatch into tiny parasitic tadpoles inside a spawning pool. Only 1% of these tadpoles survive, as the rest are consumed by an elder brain, the final stage of MindFlayer lifespan. The surviving tadpoles burrow deep within the brain of a captured humanoid, where they grow over the course of a week and completely replace the victim's brain. Known races that fall victim to this gruesome process range from humans, elves, to Gith, and even orcs. MindFlayers have a lifespan of around 135 years. When a MindFlayer dies, their brain is placed into the spawning pool, where it is absorbed by the elder brain. The elder brain consumes all of the deceased MindFlayer's knowledge. The greatest punishment a MindFlayer can endure is being denied joining the elder brain upon death. MindFlayers are telepathic and need not use spoken language. Regardless, they are capable of using and understanding language, even learning new languages. Warm-blooded, the MindFlayers have anatomy similar to that of a human, organs, a nervous system, and a brain connecting it all. They hate sunlight, choosing mostly to inhabit hidden and underground places, including the Underdark, a subterranean realm. The diet of illithids consists of brains, humanoid brains. In order to survive, the MindFlayer will absorb the enzymes, hormones, and the psychic energy from their victims' brains. The MindFlayer's mouth produces an enzyme that breaks through the skull and cannot be stopped by anything other than the slime of the illithid skin. Illithids worship a deity known as Illicensine, the illithid deity of knowledge. Whilst possessing no body or gender, Illicensine takes the form of a giant brain, whose ganglia reaches all corners of existence. The MindFlayers had an empire. This illithid empire enslaved a race known as the Gith, a tall, humanoid race with yellow skin, gaunt faces, and pointed ears. The MindFlayers were overconfident in their control over the Gith. However, they failed to notice that the Gith began to evolve and became resistant to their psionic powers of the overlords. The Gith led a rebellion against the MindFlayers, overthrowing them and destroying the illithid empire. The MindFlayers scattered across worlds. Much of the technology and magic of the illicit empire was lost or destroyed. From within hidden settlements and their subterranean lairs, the MindFlayers continued to prey upon humanoid creatures, either as a food source or enslaving them. They also used their psychic powers to control people, especially rulers. Gelatinous Cube. 50,000 pounds of ooze, this mindless, gelatinous predator silently roams crypts and vaults, absorbing anything and everything it comes into contact with. These underground dwelling transparent creatures measure a perfect cube of up to 15 square feet. Their gelatinous bodies are quite moldable, being able to flow around objects and fit through narrow passages, before quickly returning to their original shape and size. Organic matter is quickly dissolved in the acidic ooze that makes up the gelatinous cube's body, while bone and inorganic matter floats around inside, until eventually being expelled. The cubes leave behind a perfectly clean path as they slide through corridors, stripping mold and moss from the ceilings even. Only occasionally, these cubes will leave a slime trail. The cubes are omnivores and scavengers. Whilst unable to see or hear, gelatinous cubes can sense vibrations and are attracted to warmth. When facing an opponent or a potential victim, the cube will either utilize acidic pseudopods or attempt to engulf their prey. Gelatinous cubes are quite strong, being able to push back or knock over large creatures. While possible for a strong creature to escape engulfment by a cube, it is quite difficult. Whilst touching our victim, the cubes secrete a gummy-like substance that paralyzes their victims. This substance is absorbed through the skin and enters the victim's bloodstream. Once successfully engulfed, gelatinous cubes will move pockets of acidic digestive substance towards the victim's body, quickly digesting it. Survivors, whilst rare, display scars that resemble melted wax. Gelatinous cubes reproduce asexually by either dividing themselves into two smaller cubes of equal size or by budding. Two cubes could also fuse into a larger cube that acts as one. Despite the size and quick digestive, gelatinous cubes are vulnerable to most usual forms of attack. Cold-based spells particularly are said to slow. However, mind-based attacks are useless against the cubes, who are in fact mindless. Beholder. Measuring 8 feet in diameter, the beholders are powerful and intelligent beings found within the Underdark, an underground network of caverns and tunnels. Known to be vicious in nature, beholders are quick to attack. Beholders have 10 eyeballs attached to tentacles, called eye stalks, and one large main eye, much like a cyclops, within the center of their body. These eyes allow the beholders to see in all directions at once, making it impossible to ambush one, or even sneak past one. Beholders are capable of flight, though the effect resembles more of a levitation spell than actual flying. While not strong, beholders are magical creatures, each of their eyes possessing a magical power. These powers range from charming, knocking out, petrifying, disintegration, slowing, and even killing. A beholder likes to end battles as quickly as possible, and thus they will unleash all their abilities at once. The center eye of some beholders has been known to project a field of anti-magic, cancelling any magical or supernatural effect within a certain range of it. Beholders worship Gizmund, god of gases, fogs, obscurements, and deception. Then they also worship the Great Mother, a beholder matron deity. Mimic. 15 cubic feet in size and weighing 2,000 kilograms, mimics are shape-shifting monsters that assume the form of basic inanimate objects and furniture, with only one purpose: to consume. Their natural form is that of a granite-skinned being with organs, taking the form of chests, doors, and other objects most likely to be touched by unsuspecting adventurers. Mimics utilize a powerful adhesive that they secrete, which traps their victims. They also make use of pseudopods, or fake arms, to attack or further restrain their prey. Most sages agree that mimics were the creation of wizards. Their purpose was to serve as protectors against treasure hunters. However, some speculate that they originated from the Far Realm. Living up to a century, mimics reproduce by splitting and growing into adulthood within a few years' time. Lacking any interest in communication, culture, morals, or even religion, mimics are rarely able to be reasoned with. Instead, they only care about survival and feeding. A meal consisting of up to 2 humanoids could sustain a mimic for several weeks. The most intelligent subspecies of mimic is the killer mimic, a large and aggressive form, whilst the smaller and cunning variant is known as the common mimic. Mimics speak their own language, and on rare occasions have allowed safe passage in exchange for food. The skin of mimics can be used as ingredients for making a polymorph self potion, a potion that allows the user to transform into a different creature. The adhesive secreted by the mimics is also used in the production of food and perfumes. Dragon. Namesake aside, dragons are perhaps the most powerful and most iconic of all monsters within the lore of Dungeons & Dragons. An ancient race of huge, inherently magical creatures, dragons have incredibly long lifespans, with some of them living over 1,200 years. Dragons not only become stronger with age, but they grow larger and become more resistant to damage and magic. Older dragons even develop draconic magic, which consists of spells cast with simple incantations. Dragons can grow up to 120 feet in length, have a wingspan of over 135 feet, and weigh up to 581,000 kilograms. The dragon, or draconic family, is vast. There are numerous types of dragons, as well as different classes. True dragons refer to dragons that become more powerful as they age. Dragons also vary in colours, and thus are divided into different groups. Metallic dragons consist of metal-coloured dragons, gold, silver, bronze, even steel. Chromatic dragons, common colours such as red, black, blue, and green. There is also gem dragons, lung dragons, and planar dragons. All of these groups fall under true dragons. All dragons are inherently intelligent, so their personalities will vary. Some can be lawful good, whilst others can be greedy and cruel. All dragons share a common desire and attraction to treasure, whether it be shiny and magical gems and jewels, or glittering piles of gold. Evil dragons will hoard treasure for greed and wealth purposes, whereas good dragons have a more subdued lust, earning their wealth and appreciating gifts given to them. The gold dragon is considered to be the strongest and most majestic of all dragons. Graceful and wise, these ancient beings were dedicated to destroying evil. Fair and knowledgeable, black dragons are vile and cruel, living in swamps and marshlands. These dragons are extremely territorial and known to ambush intruders. Red dragons, perhaps the most popular and well known, are evil and greedy creatures. Selfish and vain, red dragons made their home in mountain lairs, sometimes even volcanoes, as they prefer the extreme heat. Dragons worship a draconic pantheon of deities, most notably the lawfully evil Tiamat, a massive 5-headed queen dragon, and her brother, also a deity in the draconic pantheon, is Bahamut, the dragon god of justice and law. While dragons are hatched from eggs, it is a common misconception to consider them reptiles. In fact, dragons are more akin to feline creatures, due to their posture and movement, as well as being warm-blooded. But it is more commonly accepted that dragons are their own species. A dragon begins its lifespan as a hatchling, and grows to become a wormling. The final stage in the lifespan is that of a great worm, a gargantuan-sized dragon with incredible power, magical abilities, and intelligence.